And we're back after these messages. Thank you for joining KTMV. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week here. We have a very special guest who represents a major workforce. Here you talk about the base, you talk about HEB, and you talk about CHRISTUS, Spohn, and the other facilities. And we bring on Dominic Dominguez, somebody from here in South Texas who has taken the helm. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
I want to thank Hugo Berlanga for putting us together, and I'm glad that you came on. It's an honor.
Pleasure.
I worked at Spohn back before it was Spohn, a guy named Jake Henry.
Oh, my goodness.
This was like 90s. I worked in the ICU.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm a little familiar with Memorial, a little familiar with, it's changed a lot.
It has.
So just, you know, a lot of people out there still are missing a lot of the services, like a Memorial, the psychiatric hospital. They're concerned that people are being scattered to the wind. I've talked to police officers, same thing. What are we going to do with these people with mental, health? So what are we doing to address the problem? Because historically, we had Memorial that had that charity contract. That went away. What exactly happened there?
Yeah, you know, so we'll go back. My career started in 1992 at Spohn Hospital as a pharmacist. So you and I were there at the same time.
Oh, okay, good.
I had the
Marcelino?
Yes, and Marcelino as a pharmacist there with me, and fantastic. Jake Henry actually gave me the opportunity to be the administrator in Beeville, Texas. I named my second son after Jake.
Wow.
So it goes back a while, but really it goes back to Rockport, Texas, born and raised here. But to answer your question, Mr. Flores, back at that time with Jake Henry, a relationship was developed with Memorial Medical Center, an institution that cared for my parents, an institution that cared for my niece who passed away there. So not only did Memorial play a role in South Texas of caring for us in every phase of life, but it played a role in making sure that doctors had a place to train. It played a role in caring for those that were hit by a car. It played a role in bringing a family together that might be struggling by caring for an individual. You mentioned to Representative Hunter that healthcare is a part of caring for the most vulnerable, and Memorial did that. I believe there were visionaries back then, and I hope today we got a wonderful county judge in Judge Canales, that I believe her vision, along with those that are in government, is to bring us forward. Representative Hunter talked about incredible amount of infrastructure coming in, and you have to have the components of healthcare, I believe the school systems, higher education.
And Judge Canales knows
she
being a
does.
healthcare provider.
She is boy.
Ready or Not Foundation, her
Right.
daughter, she herself was the healthcare provider doing therapy every single day.
Exactly, and we are blessed to have her sister on our board as Spohn, along with other leaders in this community. But to answer your question directly, I believe back around the late 90s, I believe it was around 1996, 97, with healthcare changing, with reimbursement decreasing, and it continues to decrease, that the visionaries back then, including Jake Henry, including the Spohn board, Sister Kathleen, who was a part of our community forever as the CEO, found an opportunity to say, how can we work together? And that was to form a relationship that Spohn would be the manager of Memorial. And over these years, and that had obligations. Now I will tell you, Spohn has been a part of South Texas since 1905. So I always mention to actually Bishop Mulvey corrects me. He says, you weren't founded in 1905. You were founded 2,000 years ago if your mission is to extend the healing ministry of Jesus Christ, and he's right. So in turn, Mr. Flores, our obligation was to be a part of caring for those that most of the time were marginalized, the poor, the mentally ill, and we continue to do that. As I arrived about 3 years ago, I have responsibility for the Spohn Health System, which includes Beeville, Alice, Kingsville, we can't forget about them, which includes the Santa Rosa system out of the San Antonio area. The project had begun. How do you consolidate into a state-of-the-art commitment to South Texas, which is right down the street, $350 million of investment.
I see that.
In bricks and mortar, in CT scanners that you know so well, in MRIs, in new ICUs, new monitors, investment in bringing additional doctors to our community with our fine medical staff. And in turn, you're going to have care being delivered in one facility. We are absolutely keeping our obligation to care for the mentally ill.
Now I'm hearing about growing pains. I have
Sure.
a lot of people that are RNs, that are ER physicians that'll remain nameless because you have the head honcho here, but are saying, look, I mean, there's wait times, there's turnover 24 hours. I can't get a bed. There's not enough staff. There's a lot of growing pains right now.
There is.
What are we going to do with the psych patients?
Yeah, right now, the mental health patients are absolutely being cared for right now at Memorial.
Okay.
Right now at Memorial. So that has not changed. Our ER is functioning at Memorial right now. Now, we will consolidate, and we're working with the judge right now on where would be the best site to provide the best care for the mentally ill. I have family members that need that help. You have family members. Representative Hunter was correct.
We all have
We
family
do, right?
members that-
Representative Hunter was correct. This affects us through suicides, this affects us through drug abuse, this affects us through incarcerations, and we're going to be a part of that solution. Actually, with the judge, we're going to be a part of leading that solution. But we need everyone involved. Representative Hunter, Senator Hinojosa. We do need our colleagues at HCA to be a part of this. And so the solution...
Overflow.
Now, with the big facility, our wait times are non-existent now. We are seeing close to 200 patients a day in our ER.
So the ER times have gone down.
Absolutely.
As far as wait time.
And we just brought online, and you'll like this story, 90 new nurses. About 60 of them are brand new that are coming out of training and orientation. About 30 are experienced. And if I could convince you to come back and provide care, I would, all right?
Well, I'm getting a little bit old, but yeah, all right.
But I hope I answered that. Our commitment is unwavering. Our commitment to South Texas in the form of both infrastructure, as I mentioned, $350 million commitment, hiring staff. We're the first, actually the largest employer in the private sector of Corpus Christi. We're proud of that.
Yes.
And so thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about it. I also tell you, I'm accountable to y'all in South Texas. The buck does stop with me. It doesn't stop with anyone else. So whether it is a wait time, Mr. Flores, whether it is a disappointment in how care occurred, whether it is a cold meal, whatever it might be, my obligation, and I'm accountable to South Texas.
Well, and I'll give you an anecdote. When y'all first started building, across the street was a caliche sort of driveway, and I saw people crossing, right? And I had my father-in-law, I was late for today for filming. I was taking his blood pressure, checking him out. He's post-stroke. And y'all do a great job on the stroke
Well,
thing,
thank you,
by
sir.
the way.
And we're just recruiting a new doc.
That's good.
That
New
will do
neurologist.
the endovascular.
Yeah.
These are new
Totally.
breed docs.
Totally.
Yeah. So.
But in any event,
Well,
so
thank
they
you.
were crossing, right? And so there's no light across the street. There is an element there that the crime, everything, and there were no lights. So people were crossing in the dark, and bam, have a blowout with the wheelchair and everything. So I called counsel for Spohn. At the time was in Dallas, and I knew them and pitched a fit about it and said it. And so y'all put up lights by the very next day. Had huge lights, everything, security, the works. So these are the types of things. It is true. Y'all are responsive to our requests, and when people make requests, they do that. So what are our timelines?
Well,
We got a couple of minutes. What are our timelines?
So right
to
now
do?
we are actually moving into the new facility. We're about 95% of the move.
And by new facility, you mean, let's look geographically.
Geographically.
And Dave will probably take a picture and put it up there.
Sure.
Okay, are you talking about the old facility where I used to work, dinosaurs on their last roar, and then we have to cross the street.
You cross the bridge.
Right.
You cross the bridge, and then we have this beautiful, I'm going to call it a new tower. It came up since you and I were working here. We call that the pavilion. Right next to the pavilion, we're calling it the North Tower.
That's the big thing.
The big thing. We will now have the capacity of around 550 beds that for the community of South Texas. No one wants to come to a hospital unless they're having a baby.
Right.
And so we know that being a provider involves multiple aspects of delivering that care. We can't make everybody well, but we can deliver care and healing. When we talk about the Memorial Campus, at some point over the next 2 years, as we consolidate mental health, as we operationalize caring for all of South Texas in their highest need, whether that's a heart procedure, stroke, whether that is a general surgery, whether that's trauma, it'll be at Shoreline. We are also committing around $30 million to Spohn South to develop it into a higher acuity facility. We're bringing 2 cath labs in. We continue to expand that part of town as it grows. But over the next couple of years, we'll have Memorial actually come down. It's part of the plan that was with the Nueces County Hospital District and the county judge. In that area right now, you have the Dr. Hector P. Garcia Family Wellness Center, and I'd love to invite you there. Last year, we saw 220,000 patient visits there. You know, when you think about wellness, and it's been tried everywhere, it's actually happening there. Patients, 220,000 prescriptions were filled there.
Well, we're like the #1 amputation capital of the United States.
We've got to do a better job at that.
People are going blind at 30.
Dialysis
at 35.
What you have in there are wonderful doctors, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, nurses providing care to folks, teaching about diabetes, why it is important to take your medicine, eat a certain way, getting prescriptions filled. You have in there state-of-the-art a CT scanner, and you know the devices to complement the talent that really is hands-on. No one can tell you any more than you already know that delivering healthcare is real personal.
And I want to thank Todd Hunter also for being behind the bills that gave nurse practitioners like myself more autonomy, help out, expand our reach.
Vital. That is vital.
Practice medicine with collaboration with a physician and provide underserved. We've got about a minute, but knocking on 1 million doors here. We're going to share this with everybody we can and all over South Texas. What would you like to tell the people out there?
Mr. Flores, I'd like to tell the people we are blessed to be a part of our community. We are blessed to care for you at your most vulnerable times. We're blessed to work with these incredible doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners. It's a blessing, and we hold that responsibility at heart. I'm accountable to you in this community. I invite you to come to Spohn, to the Dr. Hector P. Garcia Memorial Center so you can see it.
We might go over there and do some filming.
I think you're I'd love to invite you right now. The community looks to you to tell the story in an unbiased way, because I am biased. I'm biased about my faith. I'm biased about my family.
Oh, I'm biased.
We want...
In a good way.
Yeah, and we are, right? And the demand is there for state-of-the-art health care, and we look forward to providing that in that ministry of healing those and extending that healing ministry of Jesus Christ.
And hopefully that whole thing, when you get discharged from getting turfed out to getting to the house, that's where you have a breakdown. And that's where we need to do better.
Exactly.
We need to have that bridge between going home and that education, and they don't know what's happening. All they know is that they're getting placed outside, getting discharged.
And you're scared, right? You've seen it.
They're scared. You've seen it. And when is that hospital bed going to come in? When's that home health nurse going to come in? When we have that gap in there, that's where the problems develop. So I'd like to partner with you, bring you on again, and discuss that.
I'd love to do that.
Because people don't know. If you don't do your job at the hospital in doing that discharge planning, they come back within a certain time, you get dinged for it. You got to pay.
And they're sicker, and they're disappointed. And then heaven forbid, you mentioned the amputation rate. That changes people's lives in a very negative way, right?
All the family, all the caregivers.
It is. And so I thank you. I'm available at your convenience. We invite you to come into Spohn. We invite you to come into the Dr. Hector P. Garcia Family Health Center, which is just state-of-the-art care, and look forward to working with you.
If you can leave the cell with Dave, and I promise that we won't blow it up on TV, so you don't
get count on it.
You don't get the crazies and sickos. I hate this so much.
It'll be my family who texting me, all right?
Right? But if you can leave your cell, man,
count on it.
We'll get you, and we'll take it.
Mr. Flores, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for what you do to our community, our community.
Thank you. And Hugo Berlanga, thank you for putting us all together. Appreciate it.
Thank you.